Good evening, Mr. Goh.
Good evening.
So, how has your day been? The usual question.
Well, actually, I have not done any video for the past few days because my mother is actually in critical condition. But I've told you that I should not be able to do this for the time being. But I think today is I feel the urge to do it because a major announcement has come up and things that I'm very happy about, but at the same time I'm worried about. Yeah, so we'll do this together.
We are sorry to hear that. We'll keep her in our prayers. Now, today there's a 2 hours live broadcast in the national television pertaining to COVID-19 progress today. First and foremost, what is your view about PM's Lee's new approach towards COVID-19 containment?
I believe it is a difficult decision for him to do it, to actually to say that now discourage. He will no longer discourage people from wearing masks, and now he's going into a phase of even giving each Singaporeans a reusable mask. I think this is a very courageous move, right, and a very right move. Right? At the same time, I think we are really in a critical situation right now for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Why? Our numbers have gone up. Not only our numbers. What is the most worrying is actually the unlinked cases. There's more than 100 of them. It means, as he have said, it means that there are hidden carriers going around. And I will urge everyone, stay calm. I believe the supplies will be there, right? There's no need to panic. But at the same time, stay home.
Do you think the new approach will flatten the curve anytime soon?
I surely hope so. And I believe it will. Because the concept of this social distancing, extreme social distancing, is to keep everyone compartmentalized in their home. So any other cases that came up, it will not cross-infect each other. And during this period, anyone actually infected will be detected, right? And by then, we will actually take them out of the community, treat them well, and the society will be clean of the virus infection. I think this will work.
You were probably the first public figure to advocate the closing of the school. Now that Minister Ong have decided to do so, what is your take on this?
Well, whether I'm a first or not, it doesn't matter. We did it for Singapore, right? For the benefits, for the welfare of our children. And I believe when you look at the comments that came out, whether on Minister Ong's own web, Facebook, or the Straits Times reports, they are opening, criticizing, or urging him to do the right thing. And I am very glad that finally his team have decided that, okay, now we will do it.
On one hand, we are making amendments to the approach, and on the other hand, we are contemplating to allow tourists from China, especially from Beijing and Shanghai, to visit our shore. What do you think about this?
I think we should seriously reconsider this. And our focus now for all the Singaporeans is to urge the PAP government not to do that. I posted something on my Facebook today, right? There's one Scoot webpage where they sell the tickets, right? They are going to sell the tickets for May the 6th for people to fly from Guangzhou to Singapore. But look, China have blocked its borders, rejecting all the foreigners from flying in. So who are we serving? It means that Singapore government actually wanted to allow the Chinese to fly into Singapore. And is that a wise thing to do? That is a fundamental question, right? Because we are in a period that we are facing a peak, and if we succeed to contain it, we want to open our borders again and allow new imported cases to come in, and that is the very delicate thing we should consider.
88,000 of we Singaporeans qualify for the stimulus package, the grant, the help, the aid. However, there are still hundreds of thousands that have to go through the qualifying rounds. They queue up at CCs and all the relevant centers to do the application and to be assessed. We are encouraged to keep social distancing. Why this closed cluster application?
I was put on a certain chat group, right? Taxi drivers, private hire vehicles drivers, and all that. Their frustration, their for doing this. Now, if we are serious about social distancing, such arrangements should not be done. Not physically asking people to queue at CC. I think this is wrong, right? So, what can be done? We are supposed to be a smart country. Remember that. Technology is our key strength. Why can't we actually do it online? Why can't we use, well, maybe Skype, Zoom, face-to-face interview, right? To the website. And you can send documents to that for verification. Why would we need people to actually queue to do such documentation issues? We are actually telling all the officers, you must arrange stay home or work from home. But can't we do this when people are at home? I believe we can do that, right? Of course, like Lee Hong Yi have done a very great job on the apps. I am using the apps actually, the Parking SG. Oh, that's great. I believe with him around, he should find an IT solution to this. Not only for this, for future application. Because we are going to help a lot of people during this period. The businessmen also. So let them go through the online processes. Beside that, they announced something like they're going to issue each Singaporeans a reusable mask. And again, they ask people to go to CC to collect it. Imagine, tomorrow what will happen? Or Monday what will happen? Everyone will squeeze it. Is that social distancing?
Minister Ong says that 10 to 50 students will go back to school because they have no access to Wi-Fi or they do not have the necessary device to do home learning. What is your opinion about this matter?
It is a wake-up call. The wake-up call of a reality of a social differences, social class. We can boast about being a smart nation. But in a smart nation, you have a segment of your population without access to Wi-Fi, without access to computers. What type of smart nation are you talking about? That is why I say that if we are really serious about being a smart nation, we should start from the young. That is all it takes. And I believe because most of the time they are reluctant to shut the schools and do a home-based learning. It's because of this. They know the problem, right? But I'm glad that they have finally come to terms that they have to spend money and solve it. If money is a problem, it's not a big problem. Just spend it.
The ministers have referred to the private sectors that rendered help along the way. Is that the reason why many of our retired generals, retired civil servants are airdropped into all the private sector so that in terms of crisis like this, they can be mobilized to come in to support and to help the government?
I would always want to put an arm's length between the private sector and the government. Because we are an open economy. We are a free market economy. And we pride ourselves and we attract MNCs into our economy because we believe in that and we project our image on that. If you have too much government-linked companies, for example, of course you can mobilize them. But what's the cost in the long term? People will look at you, are you seriously a free economy? Right? Of course, certain things can be done by the private sectors. For example, the razor company. It can take the initiative to actually come out, look, we are shortage of this, we'll turn a certain production to produce mass. Why the private sector cannot take the initiative? Aren't they patriotic enough? We do not need the generous. I believe there are a lot of Singaporeans with the money, with the resources, will be willing to contribute.
Deputy Prime Minister Heng have exercised the FOMA on one Facebook user by the name of Tara Tiffany or Tiffany something. Yeah. So do you think he's using a sledgehammer to mask off the freedom of speech for we Singaporean?
Actually, I was pretty surprised that she was popped. Well, I do not know how many readers she has, but of course, I believe as a responsible Singaporean, we don't spread lies. I may have committed some of the mistakes also, putting certain misinformation. But once I find out something is wrong with my information, I take it down. I put a correction. I think that is a responsible way of doing things. Now, whoever you are, wherever you stand, which position you stand, whether you are with a ruling party or the opposition, we are for the Singapore. At this matter of crisis, the time of crisis, right? Even if we want to disagree with the ruling party, the focus must be whatever you say must be for the society, for the nation, right? Just like me, I put up a lot of things like the cloth mask in replacement of the disposable mask. The ruling party supporters will mock at me, but I persevere because I believe in it. It will be good for Singaporeans. And now I'm glad that even the Prime Minister agrees that reusable masks can be used. It is not out of spite or out of for the sake of being different or wanting to be opposing, because you must be sincerely believe what you say and what you do and what you propose is good for Singapore.
The ministers have stated they rely on the World Health Organization recommendations regarding the use of masks and many other practices and criteria. Do you think it's right for us to firmly believe everything that the WHO have said or recommended?
Now, this is a tough question. Many countries in the world do not believe what the WHO say. They've gone to implement advisory to their citizens to put a mask on. It differentiates the leaders from mere technocrats. As a leader, you must assess the situation. Right? This is a virus that we are so new to it. We know nothing about it. So what is your priority? The priority is to save lives. Public health, your citizens, you must protect them. So what are the things that you should think of? I'm not talking about on hindsight. I'm talking about at that point of time, your mind should focus on protecting the citizens from the harm of the virus at maximum. So when WHO said you do not need to wear a mask, actually it's counterintuitive, right? Nobody knows how the virus will spread. So to be safe, to be on the safe side, we always try to say, okay, this is a need to be on the safe side. We do not have enough disposable masks. Then we think of solutions to it, alternatives like the cloth mask, right? So these are the missteps that have been done, but that is already corrected. It's fine.
Today, Minister Gan interjected the live telecast, saying that we should be expecting more casualties, more fatalities as the weeks to come. We have suffered the 5th fatality today. What is your opinion about this?
It is a sad thing. We could have avoided it if we have done the right thing from the start. For example, the first thing to do when you have this potential pandemic is to close your borders, to protect your citizens from imported cases. We are a bit late. 10,000 Wuhan citizens actually flew to Singapore. Right? Just flew in without checks, without restriction. But that's fine. We have to protect our citizens. They didn't know social distancing. They ignore it right from the start. They still carry on with other things like the Chingay parade, the air show. They're actually quite complacent, right? It's a sad thing that we are going to face the eventuality of our whole system being overwhelmed by the numerous infections that we are looking at, and definitely we have more death.
Minister Chan assured us that the supply of the essentials are stable. However, we citizens notice that the price have been creeping up, even in NTUCs, in wet market during these past 2 weeks. Do you think for the next 3 weeks we're going to suffer more?
We may suffer more, but look, we are all Singaporeans. If you buy too much of a things, eventually you have to throw away. You are depriving other Singaporeans food, which is basic need for survival. Right? We should be sharing our resources. Look around your neighbors, like the old kampong spirit, which I grew up with, right? If my neighbors are having difficulties, we share our food. I hope Singaporeans will do that, right? Do not be selfish. Eventually, we are one united nation.
Now that majority of us are going to stay home, any recommendation as to what we can do by home?
Well, I joked with my wife today. I said, after this 1 month, either we will have more babies 10 months later, or we will have more divorce cases. Right? But stay calm. We still can interact with friends. There are many technological tools that we can use. Right? Now, don't let this stay-home effect affect your mental health. Talk to friends to Skype. Talk to friends to WhatsApp call. Right? Keep in touch. Ask them, how are you? Are you doing well? Any problems? Because some of us will have financial problems. Right? You don't need to go there and give them money. Just a PayLah. You can transfer some money to tie over. Right? I believe at the end of the tunnel there will always be light. And it is the government role to make sure that everyone survives this together.
We do not want to take you away from your mom, and we also wish her a speedy recovery. Do you have any recommendations to Singaporeans before we part ways today?
There are two things I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned. We still need to have a more impact on testing. Anyone that comes in, instead of saying that, oh, just ask you to declare where you go, right, and let them in and go for quarantine, we should set up a testing station at each counter, custom counter. Immediately when you come in, they will do a swab test for you. You go back, you quarantine, and if you are found to be positive, immediately go for treatment. Only then, this might be a long-term thing because we do not know how this thing will last, but it will become a norm. Without the testing, we cannot protect our citizens, right? So this is one. The other thing is how to maintain the economy, right? We have to work. We have to survive. This is something for us to actually think about. For example, not so long ago, we are actually penalizing all the Grab food, all the PMD users for the Grab food. Now actually we need them during this period of time. They need to send your food to you. So back then when I stood up for them, right, a lot of people were scolding me. Why you are supporting them? No, they are actually a nuisance, so called. Right? But be grateful that there are people who work for you. Be grateful for everything that you have, right? And it's only crisis that we should reflect upon ourselves. Are we too selfish sometimes? I saw a lot of people going to NTUC to grab everything. But at the end of the day, some of these they cannot consume and they throw away. No, don't do that. I believe our system will survive. And we will survive.
Yes, we will survive. Thank you very much, Mr. Goh.